Hello everyone and welcome you all for the module 9 of our WSET Level 2 preparation journey. And in today's module, we're going to be learning about Chenin Blanc, Semillon and Furmint according to the WSET Level 2 specification. So what is special about these three grape varieties is that they have the ability to produce wines in a whole range of styles like dry wines, off-dry wines, as well as sweet styles wines, and they also can produce in a number of different locations in the world. Therefore, it's very important to understand these three grape varieties and its renowned regions that are known to produce outstanding styles, as well as what are the characteristics of these grape varieties. So my name is Nilantha. Welcome to my WSET Level 2 preparation journey, where I help you to prepare for your WSET Level 2 qualification in wine without feeling overwhelming. So without further ado, let's get started. So out of these three grape varieties, Chenin Blanc is the most important variety that we need to focus on. And in the world of wine, Chenin Blanc is one of the most versatile grape varieties. So Chenin Blanc is considered as one of the most versatile grape variety in the world of wine. It can grow in cool, moderate and warm climates, and the flavor profile vary depending on the climate conditions. So it has the ability to grow in cool climates, warmer climates, even moderate climate as well. Depending on where this grape variety is grown, the flavor profile is going to be vary. If it comes from cooler climate regions, flavors of like green fruits and citrus fruits like green apple, pear, lemon, lime, etc. can expect. And also if it's slightly warmer towards the moderate climates, then it tend to have strong fruits like peach, apricots flavor profiles. And then as it gets more warmer, more tropical fruit flavor profile can be expected as the grape ripens. So it has high levels of natural acidity that makes it suitable for late harvest, and it's also susceptible for botrytis noble rot. So it has also this ability to retain high levels of acidity as it continues to ripen. So most of the grape varieties that we know tend to decrease the acidity levels as the sugar levels increases, but in Chenin Blanc it has this natural ability to retain high levels of acidity as the sugar level increase in the grape variety. So also this grape variety is susceptible to noble rot, meaning that if the required growing conditions are met, this grape variety can have this noble rot affected. Therefore it can also produce outstanding sweet wines. So can produce range of styles from dry to sweet, oaked to unoaked style. So it can produce wines from dry to off dry, medium, sweet styles. It can also produce oaked or unoaked styles of wines. We'll start with the Vouvray to understand the most renowned regions for the Chenin Blanc grape variety. So Vouvray AOC in France, a classic region for Chenin Blanc and located in the Loire Valley. So Vouvray is the classic region for this grape variety Chenin Blanc, and it's located in the Loire Valley in France. So Chenin Blanc is the only grape variety permitted and produced in range of styles from dry to sweet and still to sparkling. So in Vouvray, Chenin Blanc is the only grape variety that is permitted to grow in this region, as well as it's produced whole range of wines from dry to sweet, from still to sparkling. So even though it's one grape variety permitted in this region, it produces a whole range of styles out of this one grape variety. The typical wines from Vouvray are unoaked styles and develops notes of honey and dry fruits as aging. So typically the wines from this Vouvray made from the Chenin Blanc are unoaked styles, and they over the years as they age, they develop the flavors of honey and dry fruit characters in the bottle. So it has this potential to develop these primary fruits into these tertiary characters like honey and dry fruits over the years in the bottle. So that is the Vouvray. So now we are moving into South Africa. So when it comes to Chenin Blanc, South Africa is quite important for us to understand, because Chenin Blanc is the most widely planted white grape variety of South Africa, and also due to its ability to retain high levels of acidity in warm climates is prized here. So South Africa in general is a warmer climate country. Most of its wine produced regions have moderate to warm climate conditions. Therefore, it is quite difficult for these white grape varieties to grow in these conditions. But because of this ability to retain high levels of acidity as the grape ripens, the Chenin Blanc can be thrive in these conditions in South Africa. So it's inexpensive, high-volume brands typically blend with Chardonnay and tend to be medium-bodied with stone fruits and tropical fruits oak from. So there can be different styles of Chenin Blanc made in South Africa, and typically the high-volume, inexpensive brands they tend to blend Chenin Blanc with Chardonnay to produce a wine with quite medium bodied style with stone fruits and tropical fruits and also oak flavors that are derived from these oak alternatives, which means like oak chips. Oak staves are used because they're not able to afford these oak barrels as they are quite expensive than these options. They're using these chips or staves as their cheaper method to impart these oaky flavors to the wine. But there are very good and outstanding wines are made also from old wines, because these old wines tend to produce grapes which are very high concentrated, high flavored, and flavors of tropical fruits and also vanilla from the oak barrel. So in this, the high quality Chenin Blanc styles are often matured in oak barrels, and they will use real oak barrels, as well as these are the grapes come from old wines which produce very small quantities of yields. Therefore these grapes are quite high quality grapes which are really suitable to produce outstanding wines. And some producers even started to blend with aromatic varieties like Viognier to produce refreshing floral styles. So as winemakers continue to grow, continue to evolve their techniques and methods, they started to blend this Chenin Blanc with aromatic grape varieties like Viognier to produce a wine that is really refreshing, as well as floral styles of wines. And now let's move on to the Semillon, also called Semillon. So there's two ways of writing this name of this grape variety Semillon. The first way is the wines that are produced in France. If you see the name Semillon written as the first way, is meaning the wine is come from France, and the other way it can come from anywhere in the world. So in general, Semillon prefers moderate warm climates. So it prefers moderate warmer climates in order to grow, and depending on the ripeness, can be light to full bodied and medium to high acidity. So depending on the ripeness levels of the grapes at the harvest, so it can have a light to full bodied, light, medium, full bodied could be style, as well as medium to high levels of acidity. So in youth typically have simple flavors like grass, apples and lemons, so meaning that green fruits as well as citrus fruit can be expected from a typical youthful Chenin Blanc wine, but some can age very well, developing tertiary flavors like dry fruits, nuts and honey in bottle. So there are outstanding styles of Semillon made especially in the Australian styles. They can develop these simple flavors into outstanding flavors of like dry fruits, honey as well as the nuts in the bottle. So Bordeaux is the most important region in France, and often blended with Sauvignon Blanc to produce dry and sweet styles of wines. They're labeled as Bordeaux. So in France, Bordeaux is the most important region for this grape variety, and it's produced wines in dry as well as sweet styles. And these wines are often blended with Sauvignon Blanc grape variety to add a refreshing character as well as acidity to the blend, and they are labeled as Bordeaux AOC. So Sauternes AOC, a small sub-region within the Bordeaux. It is a sweet wine made from the grapes that are affected by Bordeaux. So Sauternes AOC is a small wine region found within the Bordeaux, and it's always sweet wines, and these wines are made from the grapes that are affected by noble rot as well as the botrytis, the fungus. So that concentrate the flavors and sugars in the grape, and then they produce these wines. So they are outstanding, iconic styles of sweet wines in the world of sweet wines. And a typical Sauternes wine is sweet, medium to high acidity, and full-bodied, balancing high acidity. So typical Sauternes wine is sweet wine, of course, and it's medium to high levels of acidity. The unique thing about these sweet wines, these grape varieties, is that they still have the ability to retain high levels of acidity to balance the sweetness of these wines. Even though they have very high levels of residual sugar, the high levels of acidity can balance the flavors of these wines. So display flavors of stone fruits, vanilla and smoke from oak can be aged for many years, developing tertiary characters in the bottle. So these wines have a great potential to age many years, even decades in the bottle, and they often display the flavors of stone fruits, vanilla as well as smoke from the oak maturation. So this is pretty much that we need to know about Bordeaux, Sauternes and Semillon from France. And now we have Australia. In Australia, Semillon is often blended with Sauvignon Blanc to produce sweet wines from grapes that are affected by botrytis, also used in make dry wines in range of styles. So again, in Australia it's quite similar. They also blend this Semillon with Sauvignon Blanc to produce dry and sweet styles of wines, and also they produce sweet wines from the grapes that are affected by botrytis or the noble rot. So Hunter Valley produces distinctive styles, dry single variety wines that are light bodied and low alcohol by harvesting early, vinified in inert vessels and bottled when they are still young. At first, these wines have neutral flavors. Over the time, develops into pronounced, complex flavors of honey and dried fruit. It is very important to understand this Hunter Valley Semillon. This very much likely to get a question from this Hunter Valley Semillon. If ever you get a question about this Semillon, about Hunter Valley, so they produce very distinctive styles of single varietal Semillon wines, and these wines are vinified in inert vessels to protect these primary flavors found in the grape varieties. And at first, as they release to the market, they tend to have the flavors of neutral. You don't get the complex flavors of like stone fruits or ripe citrus fruit, any other, just like their green fruits, and very simple flavors you can expect. But as they age, the magic happens over the time in the bottle. So they develop these primary fruit flavors into tertiary characters like honey, like dry fruits, nuts, etc. And they are pretty much distinctive styles that WSET often discuss in level 2, level 3 as well. So it's pretty much important to understand. And then we have the Barossa Valley Semillon. So these Semillons is made in a number of different styles. Again, they can be dry, medium, off dry and sweet, and some are very similar to Hunter Valley styles, and some tend to be full bodied and oak matured. So some of the wines are very similar to the Hunter Valley styles, which means they are vinified in stainless steels like inert vessels, and at first they are not as complex as someone can expect after a few years, like 5-10 years, similar styles. But they also produce oaky styles that are matured in oak, fuller bodied styles of Semillon as well in Barossa Valley. So do not confuse between this Barossa Valley and Hunter Valley, and it is pretty much likely to get a questions based on these two regions about Semillon as well. And then we have Furmint. So it's another amazing grape variety that we need to focus on when preparing for WSET level 2, as it's explained in detail about this grape variety as well. So it's a white grape variety grown mostly in Hungary. So this grape variety is mostly found in Hungary, and also it has naturally high acidity and susceptible for botrytis. So this also has high levels of natural acidity, and it is susceptible for botrytis, meaning that it has the ability to produce outstanding sweet wines. So Furmint is the most widely planted grape variety in the Tokaji. So Furmint and Tokaji is the most important terms you need to understand. So Tokaji is the sub-region you found in the Hungary. So Tokaji produces both dry and medium wines. It is famous for Tokaji Atsu. So Tokaji is known to produce dry wines as well as medium wines, but it's mostly famous for this Tokaji Atsu wines, meaning that Furmint is the main grape variety used, and other local varieties used in the blend to enhance the flavor profile and the complexity. So in this Tokaji Atsu wines, Furmint is the primary grape variety. Along with some other local grape varieties, they produce this wine, this amazing wine. So Tokaji Atsu is always sweet, and depending on the number of Putanwa, the sweetness levels are vary. So in Tokaji Atsu, especially on the label is mentioned how many Putanwas, like 3 Putanwas, 5 Putanwas, 6 Putanwas, etc. So depending on the number of these Putanwas that they use, the amount of residual sugar in the wines can be vary, meaning that as the number of this Putanwa increase, the sugar levels, the sweetness levels in the wine is increased. So basically for 3 Putanwa wine is less sweeter than a wine that has 5 Putanwas of these also. So it's kind of like dried berries. They dip in these dry wines, and the way of producing these Tokaji wines is not required to understand and explain in WSET level 2, but level 3 you need to understand how these Tokaji wines are made, how these grapes are measured, what is the putanua size, etc. So Tokaji are amber in color as they age longer in oak, with a pronounced aromas of primary, secondary as well as tertiary on the nose. Sweetness and fuller bodied is beautifully balanced by high levels of acidity. So Tokaji are generally amber in color because these are sweet wines. They already have this darker appearance in color as they age in the barrels. So before they release, they already goes through an extended period of aging in the barrels, and also that impart these colors of these wines into amber. So they have these primary fruit flavors, secondary fruit flavors, as well as tertiary characteristics. So primary is the flavors that we are coming from the grape variety, and then we have secondary, which impart from the barrel fermentation as well as barrel maturation, and then tertiary characters that develop in the bottle as they age. So these wines have great potential to age for many years in the bottle and considered some of the best sweet wines in the world. Arguably, Tokaji are some of the most famous as well as some of the best sweet wines in the world, and also they have the great potential to further develop the flavors into more tertiary characteristics and enhance this flavor profile as they age for many years ahead. So they considered as some of the finest sweet wines in the world without doubt as well. So this is pretty much we need to know about Chenin Blanc and then Semillon as well as Furmint. All these three grape varieties are discussed in level 2 specification together. Therefore, that is why I discuss all these three grape varieties together in this module as well. So there will be absolute chances of having questions based on any of these grape varieties, or else all of these grape varieties. It depends on the examination, but we'll be doing example questions based on these modules, each modules in upcoming contents. Therefore, be prepared for that as well, so that we can all practice these example questions as well based on these modules. I hope this module was helpful for you as well as useful for your journey to prepare for your WSET level 2 as well. If so, please do subscribe to my channel as well as share this with your friends who are currently preparing for WSET courses. And if you are willing to prepare for WSET level 3, also be in touch with my channel as I continue to do contents on level 3 once I complete with level 2 as well. So I'm gonna see you again with the module 10, which gonna be about Chardonnay. Pretty much interesting, and until then, everyone, please take care.